everyone. I just wanted to pop on today. There's been something on my mind. I've been having a lot of private conversations, and I wanted to hop on and discuss with you a couple of things. Some of the recent company changes in the direct selling industry. Speak with those who are worried about the viability of the industry. I'm hearing that so much. Is the industry sound? Is it solid? Is it dying? Is it going away? And then speak to those of you who are in the midst of some major company changes. So I hope this helps you feel better about where you are and where you're headed. So as I said, recently we've had a couple of companies completely shutter or drastically change their compensation plan model, which has a pretty catastrophic effect on their high-end leaders that help them build the company. So it's for those of you not in this industry, it's a lot like losing a job. So let me first say that in the January timeframe, and I know this is February 11th, we had a company close early in February, but in January, it is not uncommon to see companies close. Struggling companies will make it through the last hurrah, that fall holiday selling season from September, October through December, and then close knowing that the lean months are coming and that they can't make it through the lean months. And that used to be the primary practice, excuse me, of companies. There's a newer practice, which isn't completely brand new. I mean, we saw it with companies, 20 years ago. I'm not going to name any names, but y'all can probably name some for me. But this practice of completely changing the comp plan to eliminate leadership or minimize leadership or just going straight affiliate is something that we're seeing a little bit more of. And I think it's almost when one person does it, it starts to become okay to do it. And I think it's one more step to stave off having to completely shutter the company, because there's why 1,000 different things can go wrong down 1,000 different footsteps in running a company like this. So for whatever reason, they decide to go this way, or worse, just go straight online with no affiliates or anything. And sometimes that's a revenue strategy. I mean, it definitely saves money if you want to think about it that way. But anyway, these decisions are made for a lot of reasons. In the long run, what I have seen over 25, 30 years in this industry is that the sales organization cannot survive without that leadership, that top line field level leadership that really mentors in a very personal way. And so those salespeople or representatives start to fall away slowly over time. So this isn't it isn't a move that I think is really going to help in the long run. I think we're going to see most of these companies shuttering their doors eventually. But every time it happens, the naysayers, everyone likes to know something, right? And so the naysayers begin wailing that the industry is dying and the sky is falling. And, none of that is true. This happens every January and sometimes into February, every year. Mark my words, there's 3 or 4 big ones that close. And I will also say, companies come and go in all industries. In the restaurant industry, cooking is a favorite hobby of mine, and I love cooking shows, and I love following Chef Ramsay and restaurateurs and things like that. Most restaurants do not live to see their first anniversary. And that is, we've got way better statistics than that in our industry. And no one is saying that industry is failing or the sky is falling. And as a matter of fact, I'm just thinking, we're here in Nashville, we're the hot it city. And we've got a lot of celebrity restaurants. And I don't know, within the last year, I think it was a big celebrity restaurant who's on cooking shows and she's all over Food Network, had a restaurant here. And her people came into work one day. Place was closed, note on the door saying, "We're closed," no information on checks or who to contact or anything. It was shocking that someone would close a business that way, but it happens everywhere. So don't buy into this doomsday that this industry is doomed and it's too old and whatever. These kinds of things go on in any industry that you can really think of. So my point is that we're not going anywhere. We need to revamp and we need to evolve and we need to learn to do things differently. But if you're concerned about the future of the industry, I say don't be. We have been here for over 100 years. Can you imagine the changes that we have seen and the changes that we as an industry have had to navigate, and companies and individuals, right? All had to navigate those changes. There are things that we can do as direct sellers in the industry to help the industry, to help companies to help your individual business, there are things that companies could do to lighten the restraints on you all, to let you have a little more freedom on social media too. So it's time for everyone to step into 2025. Most companies, especially legacy companies, they're running their policies and procedures are antiquated, and it really does kind of hamstring you. And social media, which is one of our most viable ways of connecting and reaching out to people. But there are many things that you can do as an individual seller, an individual contributor, an individual leader. It really is, and here's a few, it is really time, and I've been preaching this for about 5 years, to stop relying on groups, which have terrible viewership, and static graphics. Those no longer play anymore like they used to. You could do engagement graphics and fun things like that, and people would react to it. Facebook's really not showing that. Video's king, and it's been king for quite some time, and just maybe some of us haven't clued into exactly how much a role video plays in success. So there are compelling ways to use new technology, new videos. It's not all about a new platform. It really is about embracing what you have on whatever platform you're on. And as a matter of fact, I have a class coming up on this exact thing, Social Selling 2.0, that really dives into the evolution of social selling and shares strategies and tips. Success leaves clues. So it shares strategies that will help you double your business, double, triple, quadruple your business based on what other people are doing that is successful. It's going to require you to step out of that comfort zone of that 300-person group that you're in and do things different. But I promise you, it will absolutely change your business. That's not our topic today, but if you want to know more about the Social Selling 2.0, you can just drop that hashtag social selling in the comments, and I'll get the info to you. So now let's talk about, so the industry is solid and fine. If it weren't, I'd be going somewhere else. This is where I make my living too. And I believe that it's just time for us to make some changes. So let me talk to people in the midst of big change. You're with a company that has either completely shuttered their doors or they've changed their compensation plan that has affected you tremendously. And I know how both of those can feel. When a company closes, it feels like a funeral. It just feels like a death. When a company changes its compensation plan, that changes how you earn income to provide for your family. There's a whole nother layer of grief in there because it can feel like some betrayal on a degree that you, especially when you're a founding consultant and you come in the doors during soft launch and there is nothing and you really build this company, it can feel like there's a lack of gratitude for that, and like all of your hard work and all of your sacrifices have been completely forgotten about, and they've just made this terrible change. So been there, seen it, done it, probably got the t-shirt and probably designed the darn thing. So I have been there as a consultant, and it is hard. I have been there as a corporate exec when decisions are being made, and that is really hard. And then I've been there as a business coach and helped a lot of people through this, with a lot of coaching clients, to figure out what's next and to, feel the grief that you feel and, kind of feel your way through it. There is shock. This is the 7 stages of whatever grief. There is shock initially that you can't believe this is happening to your company, that you can't believe your company has done this or that this decision has been made. And there is grief because you have built friendships and a community, and income, all kinds of things. There's memories. There's so much grief, just as if you've lost a person. It's so hard to explain to someone who works a 9-to-5 job, even though they might be very emotionally invested in that business. It's a little bit different in direct selling because it's all your friends and it's people you go on trips with. And anyway, there's just a flood of memories. Even as I talk now, a flood of images flow through my head of different companies and different places that I've been. There is anger, or there will be. If you're not mad yet, there'll be a point at which you're mad that this happened, that you didn't have more notice, that all kinds of things. And you need to go through that in order to heal. This is a process. There's probably an urgency if you're a leader and you're earning, a substantial income, whatever to you is substantial. There is a sense of urgency that I've got to replace this income. But it's hard to think about that amidst the waves of grief and anger and sadness that come along with it, and shock and thinking, no, this can't be happening. There's a whole process. If you've ever been through any kind of grief, you know what the process looks like. You have to be able to really in your heart say goodbye to this chapter of your journey, and it is just a chapter as much as you thought it might be the whole journey. It's just a leg of it, and you learned lessons here, and those lessons are going to serve you elsewhere. I promise you. So your head is saying all of that. Your heart is in grief. Your head, it's like a back and forth, and your brain comes back and says, "Oh, but I've got to make the smart moves, and I've got to make the smart moves fast." And I can't tell you what the smart moves are for you in a video. I don't know your unique situation. Ultimately, you will know if you'll let yourself feel this. You'll know what you need to do. But I know that you're afraid of regretting either not moving fast enough or moving too fast. So I'm going to share some general tips for anyone going through this. And then I'm going to open my calendar up and I'll put a link. You just go on, pick a spot, and we can talk about your specific situation, what you need out of it, how you're feeling about it, what you might be looking at. Are you looking at anything yet? That's absolutely free. This industry, you probably heard me say it if you followed me any time at all, this is the industry that built me, and I owe it so much. And I want to keep good people here, changing lives and building futures and building finances and living life in your own terms and staying home with your kids and everything that this industry can bring. So look for that link in the comments. I may come back and do it in the header. Anywho, that being said, if you don't want a spot, let me just share some generic tips. And some of these are good for just anybody. It's just good practice. The first thing I would say is if you can get into your back office, and I know sometimes you wake up one morning and your back office just isn't there. I'm telling you, you can't tell me anything I haven't seen in 30 years here. If you can get into your back office, the first thing I would do is I would download all my client lists, my team rosters, my past 12 months of reports, income, get those receipts. You need them. And this is good advice for anyone in direct selling. Don't ever think that your back office is always going to be there. I mean, I've seen just tech disasters where they changed companies, but it wasn't written in the provisions that they would import all the historical data. So consultants didn't have any historical data on their teams, team structure, customers, or anything in this new virtual office. So as a good rule of practice, you need to run your business and you need to maintain client records and know how to get a hold of people and maintain email records and maintain text, phone numbers also. Pull any money out that you have anywhere. You just never know. And I'm a firm believer in Murphy's Law. Do breathe. Give yourself a moment to process this. Don't feel like you immediately need to reach out to the team. No doubt you're being peppered with questions from the team. It's okay to say, let me get back to you on that. You know as much as I do, if that's the truth. You don't always have to put this brave face on that you are the leader and you have all the answers and you're smiling and everything's going to be fine. You don't always have to do that. You're a human being and you get to feel grief and you get to be angry and you get to say, I don't know, when you don't know. That's okay. At some point, when you've had a minute to process, put something out to your team. And it might just say, hey guys, I'm as shocked as you are. I'm working to find more answers. Know that I love you and I'm here for you. And, our team is our team. Put something out for your customers if it affects them. If the company is shuttered, if you're planning on not staying, put that out. When you know what you're going to do, let them know. If you all of a sudden can't fill orders anymore, there is no more, I'd let them know that. You want to be their source of information and you want to retain them as customers wherever you happen to go next. And I know some of you think you'll never go anywhere ever again, but ever is a long time. Never is not as long as you think it is. So lots of people will also be reaching out to you because you are a valuable commodity. So they're going to be reaching out to you with deals and new companies and comp plans and all that stuff. And it can feel like a whirlwind. And it can also feel like the vultures are descending on you and your baby chicks, your team, right? And you're trying to keep the family together and keep the team together and fending these people off. So I know that it can feel that way. When you've had a moment to breathe, and especially if you pick a spot on my calendar, when we've had a moment to talk, we can talk about this. Those offers can be leveraged into tremendous things for you and for your team, particularly if you have a larger team. You can even reach out to companies. Honey, you are like a big deal. They want you for your experience. They want for you for your network. They want all the training that you could bring to the company. You could absolutely change the face of another company somewhere. So listen gracefully, and you might just say, thanks so much for thinking of me. I'm not making any moves right now, but I appreciate you sending this over and I'll take a look at it. But make it clear to them I'm not doing anything right now. So you don't need to follow up with me, every 2 hours for 5 days because I'm not doing anything right now. But try and be graceful about that, even if they, might be, it's almost intruding in your space and your process. But do know that, you could be a director corporate if that's important to you with the right company. It is about finding the right place for you and your team. Like if your company is completely closed, it's about finding that right place. And it's out there. There are hundreds of companies for the 3 or 4 that have changed compensation plan or shuttered their doors recently. There's hundreds more. And particularly, my heart is for small companies because I can get into a small company and I can have a tremendous impact on the future of that company. And that is something that just makes me feel very excited and very proud to be able to do that. So try and just receive those gracefully, put them in a folder, go through this process, and then take a look at them. Make some decisions and don't be surprised if companies reach out to you and offer to fly you out. That's a pretty common thing, particularly if you have a larger team. So anyway, let me know if you want to chat because I think hopefully I can really be of help to you. And I'm not recruiting for anybody and I don't have any specific companies. I know a lot of companies, I know a lot of founders, and I know a lot of great places that I would point you to. For those of you in other companies that are looking from the outside, it seems so simple to you. These leaders have teams that now need new homes. They all need new incomes. They have to replace this lost income, right? You have a great product. You have a great comp plan. Bingo. Nothing could be clearer, right? They should join your team. This is very logical and it's very business-minded. The problem is they are thinking with a broken heart, not with their head at all. Some doubt if they'll ever be a part of another company. They're so brokenhearted, and I've heard it more times. I can't. If I had a nickel, right? I'm never doing it again. I'm done with the industry. This is my second one, or whatever, and I'm never doing this again. So that's their thought process in the midst of this grief, and you approaching them with your opportunity, unwarranted, unbidden. They didn't ask you. You're just saying, "Hey, here it is," and your motives are pretty pure. This makes sense. But if you think about it from their standpoint, it really feels callous to approach them right now because it holds no space for their grief and it pays no honor to what they've lost. It's just like, here's something to replace it. I often say it's like hitting on the widow at the funeral. It really is. She's not ready yet. She's still trying to process, or he is still trying to process what they've lost, what to do with this team, how to answer the team's questions, helping their team process their grief, their frustrations, their questions, all of that. No doubt they're already being approached by hundreds of people, and it does feel like vultures, for real. If you've never been there, you just don't understand until you've been through it. You don't want to be a part of that vulture-y, icky crowd. So be respectful of what they're going through. Please don't ever message people that you don't know about your business. It's just icky. It's a cold call. It's bound to get you reported for spam. I was just having that conversation with somebody the other day, and she said, "Who is teaching this?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's not me. I can guarantee you that." If you have a friend at one of these companies, you might say something like, "I am so sorry to hear about your company. I can imagine that you're not even ready to look at anything right now. When you are ready, I would love the honor of a chat," and leave it at that. And when they're ready, they're going to approach you. If you've put that in their ear in a respectful, compassionate tone, that's going to resonate with them. They're going to remember it and they'll reach out to you. I would also say, be visible with your business, but be respectful of what they're going through. And again, if you're scared about the future of your company, please don't be. But I'm happy to talk to you. These are 4 or 5 companies out of hundreds that have chosen to close. Sometimes they get too big. Sometimes they get too bogged down in their own process. And sometimes small mistakes are made along the way that just makes it, they just can't hold it. They can't keep it going anymore. So if anybody has any questions, you can chat in the comments below. You can message me, and you can always find me at the Direct Sales Institute. Y'all have a blessed day, and remember, truthfully, when one door closes, another one or 2 opens. You just have to look for them. All right, I'll see you guys soon and hope to hear from you as well. I'll go back to the chat when I'm done here. All right, bye-bye.